So, hello student, today we will go for last lecture on module 7, that was on suppressing and processing of solid waste. So, we are in the same function element. So, in the previous two lectures I talked about unit operations for recycling process, also talked about MRF, material recovery facility. Now, we can conclude the two lectures like entire dry waste, I can say the commingled dry waste has been segregated in different components. So, once the component like separate components like plastic, glass, metal or paper is getting segregated or separated, then now we can go for recycling of that particular component. So, here in this lecture I will talk about the technical view about the recycling and how this paper or plastic or metal and glass is getting recycled and what kind of new products can come out from these recycling products. So, based on the solid waste management rule, that is in 2016, define the recycling as the process of transformation segregated solid waste into a new product or a raw material for producing a new product. That has been defined recycling in solid waste management rule. So, what are the different advantages? So, if you compare the advantages based on the users, we can see the different advantage, like this is special advantage for the local urban body or municipal corporation or ULB. So, what are the advantages? It will reduce the waste volume, obviously if the waste will go for recycling ones, the volume is getting reduced. Cost saving in the collection, transportation, disposal, obviously not only at the disposal site waste quantity will reduce, also during the collection and transportation also the waste quantity will get reduced. So, obviously quantity is reduced means cost is also will get reduced. Longer lifespan of landfill. So, that is the benefit. So, that the waste coming to the disposal site will get reduced. So, obviously the landfill span also, lifespan also will get increase and obviously reduce the environmental management efforts. So, whatever the problem used to come up like for disposing such kind of waste, that is also getting modified. So, for the economy, the reduction of import of the raw material fertilizer, like from recycling we are producing another products. So, obviously the importing of the raw material for the similar kind of product will get reduced obviously. So, it is very beneficial for the economies also and livelihood opportunity for recyclers. So, obviously a lot of people will get the jobs and also they can get lot of money by selling the recycled products. And for environment, obviously sustainable use of product, because these kind of material like paper, plastic, metal, glass is not possible to get degrade very easily, especially the metal and glass won't degrade. And like plastic, once it is going to the not only disposal site or is going to the any water is getting mixed, obviously water will also get polluted and this kind of environmental problem also will get modified by having the recycling of this kind of waste. Reducing waste volume and hence reduce the land requirement for the disposal. That is one of the very important benefit of the this kind of recycling of such kind of waste. So, now first we will go for plastic recycling. So, plastic recycling is the process of recovering different type of plastic material in order to reprocess them into various varied other products unlikely their original form. So, obviously we will get the varied kind of product by reprocessing of the such kind of waste plastic. So, one more idea made of the plastic is recycled into a different product which usually cannot be recycled again, that is also, but maybe these recycled plastic or recyclable products also again getting recycled maybe one time, two times, not more than that. And there are different kind of polymer product like plastic. So, don't see that all or the plastics are same. There are different kind of plastic and normally the 7 different type of plastics are available, or we can say polymers are available in the city area, and that is normally coded by 1 to 7. So, I will just explain here what are the different kind of polymers or plastics, and what are the different products we are getting out from such kind of polymers, and what are the different codes are given into such kind of polymers. And not all 7 group of plastics are recyclable. That is also one of very important point, that all the plastics are not recyclable. I will show you one by one different kind of polymers or plastic. So, first is the PET, that is PET or PET, normally we called as a PET, and the products normally we are getting the soft drinks, the water bottle, beer bottles, that is a PET bottles, and see the status, you see, hard to clean, absorb bacteria and flavors, and avoid reusing. So, that is the status of this kind of PET products, and is recycled to make, it can be recyclable. We can produce furniture, new container, this kind of different recycled products we can make it out of that PET polymers. Next is the number 2, this code you can see that is a code is given to, that is HDPE, is very hard plastic, normally used in the household cleaner, shampoo bottles, like products we are getting into the residential area, and that what is the status of that is not known chemical into the food. I think people says that plastic is coming to the food, but I think HDPE plastic is not coming to the, or is not getting mixing into the food. These are the recyclable and possible products like fencing, paints, floor titles or detergent bottles could be possible to get produced from the HDPE waste material. Number 3, that is you see the code 3 and word is given V or PVC. Normally this PVC used in the cooking oil bottles, clear food packaging, a mouthwash bottle, this is all from the PVC, and the status is believed to contain pellets, and this is not good actually, use the PVC, and that is why it is saying please avoid to use the PVC, and could be recyclable, could be produced from cable, could be produced, or some other products can be produced from the PVC materials, but try to avoid the such kind of material. Next is the LDPE. So, is a low density plastics. Okay. So, is used in the bread and chopping bags, carpet, clothing or furniture. This is the low density plastics, and the status is transmit no known chemicals into the food. This is also similar like PVC, and is recycled to make envelopes, floor titles or some other products can be produced from the this kind of plastic. Next is the PP, that is polypropylene. So, used in the different kind of material like medicine or drinking straws, and status also is similar to the other plastics, and is possible to recycle. That could be product, could be the battery, cables, brooms could be produced from the such kind of plastic. Next is the PS, polystyrene. So, is used in the disposable cup, plates, okay, that kind of products will come up from that. Status is believed to leach sterins and possible to human carcinogenic into the food. That is why try to avoid these kind of material, and is also recyclable. So, could be possible like foam packaging and other products could be possible to come up. And last is the other. So, this is a miscellaneous one. So, this is also used in the water jugs, nylon production, some food containers also is possible. This is also try to avoid, because it is also creating some kind of problem to the humans and animals, and these recycle custom made products could be possible to produce from such kind of material. So, these are the different 7 type of plastics and mostly are the recyclable one. So, there are different stages in the plastic recycling process. First is the segregation. So, first the segregation will be there proper. Next is the washing, completely has to be washed. There will be a not only one, but there will be 2 or 3 different units of only for the washing. There should not be any contamination, and contamination could be possible like soil could be possible there, some kind of chemical could be possible, or suppose if you are packing the food into the plastic and such plastic is received by the recycling center. So, obviously, some contaminants could be possible from the food materials also into the plastic, that has to be washed properly, and then once it is getting washed, we will shade it into the different particles, small particles, and also the additional step to remove the any non plastic waste that could be possible into the plastic material. Then finally, go for identification and classification of the plastic. So, this is the specially a shading process, different sizes could be possible, and the classification or testing also we do in the different way, different quality and class is getting tested for the plastic. The first is the density test. This is simply can be do like floating the plastic into a large tank of water. So, obviously, the lighter particle will be float and denser particle will sink into the water. And air classification test, these also can be possible to lighter and very strong material or dense plastic, we can segregate based on that. And a few more additional features normally performed to know the classification of that plastic, like melting point and color. This is also very important, but I think is again depend upon the product wise. If such kind of product is not coming under the high temperature, so no need to do melting point. And color also I think is not that important, because it again depend on the product, and sometimes it is possible by adding extra color we can get it the one particular color into the entire plastic material. And the major process is the extruding, that is the very important process for recycling of the plastic. So, here the small particles are smashed and melted together into a plastic pellets. The small pellets is getting produced into the extruder method, and the pellets can then use in the production of other plastic product. So, this is the last process of the plastic recycling one, extruding method. So, I had come up with one video, we can see that how this plastic is getting recycled. This video from the Germany. So, is a recycling plant, a plastic recycling plant. This is the plastic packaging. So, major are the plastic packaged plastics are receiving in the plant. So, this is what our entire plastic material, and this the entire material is coming to the plant. So, this is bulky household plastics, see, even all kind of materials you can see the made by plastics, the household used material. So, once is getting packed, then it is getting dried up completely. So, here I was talking about washing and density separation. So, washing for the cleaning purpose and density to segregate the material in the lighter and dense plastic materials. So, is a shredded plastic, you can see. So, is again the segregation by the color. Now, this is the last unit, extruding. You can see here the smaller particle has been put it into the extruder, and finally, we will get the pellets, plastic pellets. So, you can see here these are the pellets, these are the small pellets. These are the pellets, you can see the different color pellets, while in the extruder also the some color is adding by getting the final pellet color. Now, this quality what I was talked about density and air classification or melting point and color. So, finally, these pellets is getting to produce the product finally. So, these kind of products is produced from the recycled plastic. So, these are few plastic recycling plants in India, like this is one in Ahmedabad. There are small units available in India, and many units are informal units where plastic is getting recycled. Some government plants also are available for plastic recycling. Is another photograph from the South India. So, this is one I was talking about the plastic pellets after compounding or extruding process. Now, this is the global plastic recycling status. If you compare that, India is only 11%. Now, this is the per capita plastic consumption. So, 11 kg per person, but if you compare with the other country like USA or entire Europe, China, and even for entire world, the plastic consumption are very high, but in India the consumption is not that high. And this is global plastic waste generation by industrial sector. So, here I put it the different sector like packaging, textile, consumer or institutional product, transportation, electronics, building and construction, industrial machineries. So, you can see that how much plastic waste getting generated by the different kind of sectors, and here you see that the largest plastic waste production by the packaging one, that is 141 million tons per year. That much amount of plastic waste is generated by this particular sector. And now if you see the estimate share of global plastic waste by disposal method. So, here you see that in 1985 the recycling was 0% and most of the material like 95.5% used to goes to disposal side. But in 2005 globally the recycled was increased and was 12.5% and incinerated waste also is around 20% and still but 70% used to go to landfill side. But in 2015 again the recycled quantity has been increased and again also the recycling of plastic also has been increased, but still 55% is reaching to the disposal site. So, still is required globally required to increase the awareness about plastic recycling and the use of recycled material. That kind of information also has to be given to the users. So, global plastic waste recycling percentage is considerably low. Now, plastic recycling status in India, you see here this is one of the news where recycling rates of plastic is around 60%. It is a very high. See, globally also it is not more than 19-20%, but in India the plastic recycling rates are very high. Now, here this is one graph I am showing that percentage recycling rates in the US, but various material, and you see here the plastic material like in India 60% and in US only 29% plastic is getting recycled. So, much higher than the US and even the global percentage compared to the global average also is very high in India. So, this was some news that India recycled 90% of its PET waste and it was very high compared to the Japan, Europe and US. Now, India's plastic recycling potentials, that was one of the news was given that recycling plastic in India, converting plastic waste to fuel, the unrealized potential, and India is already trying to recycle more plastic materials, and this is also one of the news that could be the future be in India plastic recycling. Now, the metal recycling, okay, this is another material. So, metals are valuable material that can be recycled repeatedly without degrading its property. That is the very important one. Once the metal is recycled, the property should be almost same. So, scrap metals not only has a financial incentives, but also its environmental imperatives. Scrap metal is classified either ferrous like iron such as steel and non-ferrous. These are the two different kind of scrap metals. We can see that steel and iron are the most recycled material in the world, as the large structures can be recovered from them with easy reprocessing, very easy to processing of the ferrous metals, okay. And non-ferrous like use of magnet in the sorting process enable recycle to easily separate steel and iron. That is also one of the benefit of having large recycling of or most recycling of steel and iron. So, that was one of the news like steel is the world most recycled material and around 400 million tons of metals are recycled worldwide every year. Steel is the world's most recycled material with a rate of 86% in 2014. You see, compare with the plastic. In India, the metal recycling sector currently employs around 1.7 million people and contribute around 2% to the GDP also. See how beneficial of this metal recycling, but rates in India is low. Let us have and you can read some of the news also here. So, metal recycling status in India compared to US. So, recycling rates in India metals is 25%, and if you compare with the US, here these are the different kind of ferrous metals. Okay. So, their percentage is always, see, the steel is 100% recycled, and even aluminum also is more than 40% is their recycling. So, in India much lower than the US, and even global average of metal recycling. In India metal recycling is low. Look at India's secondary aluminum status. So, currently aluminum recycling rates in India is 25%, while the world average is 45%. Annual demand of secondary aluminum accounts for nearly 30% of total consumption. This is very important point, and 90% of secondary aluminum consumed in the imported, even though a significant amount of scrap is generated in the country. Still 90% of secondary aluminum is getting imported to the country, and obviously, and although we are producing significant amount of scrap, metal scrap in this country. So, this was one of the news. You can see India largest maker of aluminum based die cast alloy used by automobile and their equipment manufacturers by recycling scrap aluminums. So, I think India also is trying to increase their metal recycling quantity. So, secondary aluminum is anticipated to play a vital role in the automotive industry from 2020 onward. So, because of the India is the one of the largest country to use the recycling scrap into the automotive industries. So, this is one of the another news. So, stages in metal recycling process similar to the plastic, like first has to be segregated from the mixed scrap metal to the particular kind of metal, then shredding, proper shredding has to be do based on the, and promote the melting process using comparatively lesser energy. If the smaller is the size, the melting process will be somewhat more economical. So, the small shredded metal have a larger surface to volume ratio. So, easy to get combusted during the production of new material. So, in general aluminum is converted into a small sheets and steel is changed into a steel blocks. Then melting in the large furnaces, and then purification, ensure high quality final product free of contaminants. One of the common method is a electrolysis, you can read on to electrolysis, and solidifying then melted metals are carried out by the conveyor belts to cool and solidify the metals. So, in this stage the scrap metals are formed into a specific shape such as bar for easy production of various metal product, and then finally transportation of these metal bars for production of the new products. Now, the glass recycling, it is processing of waste glass into usable product. Crushed glass before remelting is called cullet. So, that word you remember, that cullet. So, there are two type of cullet, like internal cullet composed of defective product detected and rejected by the quality control process. So, these internal cullets are producing whatever products is getting produced from the glass is getting some defection or rejection based on the quality is finding onto such kind of products, and external cullet like waste glass collected or reprocessed with the purpose of recycling. So, they have obviously used product that called as an external cullets. So, end of waste cullets is external cullets, that was the mixed color glass cullet, you can see here different color one. So, the glass waste need to be purified, cleaned of contaminants before recycling. So, to prepare the final product or recycled products. So, most common color used for the consumer containers are clear glass, green glass and brown glass. So, this is the three different color, clear, green and brown. So, approximate only 25% of glass waste get recycled in India every year. This is one of the news. And global glass recycling status as of 2018. So, volume recycled that 27 million metric tons, percentage of glass produced that is recycled 21 million metric tons, recycling rate is 35%. So, it is also very low recycling rate here. So, here in the this is one of the graph in USA the glass recycling. So, what are the different stages in the glass recycling process? First is the segregation to remove the contaminations. Like this segregation is common contamination include ceramics, light tubes, cardboards, window frames, mirrors, that has to be segregated first. Then glass breaking, glass are broken into the crude particles for future optical sorting. Then it is putting into the trommels to get the different sizes. So, this is the trommel you can see, and next is the process is once is from trommel different sizes is segregated, then it will goes to the fluidized bed dryer, where here air is heated to 190 degree Fahrenheit using natural gas and forced through the bed of the dryer. So, here entire glass is getting dried off. And finally, primary rotary screen. So, there will be a different screens and different sizes. Again the dried and clean glass is screened to cool out specific sizes, and then pulverizer. The final process is pulverizer. So, glass particles that are too big to fit through the primary screen are sent through a pulverizer. It uses multiple hammers inside a small enclosure to aggressively reduce particle size. All particles recirculated until they finally pass through a primary screen. So, idea is to produce different sizes, and this finally goes to the secondary rotary screen size classifier. So, different sizes you can see here. So, by this is the unit, by this different size of the glass material or different graded of glass material is getting segregated, and each size grade is used for different end product. So, whatever the sizes is given, this for the different product, and final product the glass cullet is classified in sizes that range from pebbles to sand and even powder form. So, you can see here this is the pebble size, the somewhat larger size material, this is sand kind, and finally, this you can see as a powder form of glass material. Okay. These are the glass culettes. So, this was one very known news in India that Delhi tin uses discarded glass bottle to make stronger sand for construction, and this glass is used into the crushed glass is using into the construction purpose. Now, finally, the cardboard recycling. So, cardboard recycling is the reprocessing and reuse of thick sheets and different kind of paper. So, there are different kind of cardboards include packaging boxes, egg carton, shoe boxes, a cereal box. This you can see the bulk cardboard waste. This is the large percentage, and especially in the packaging industries, these kind of products is coming into the larger quantity. So, there are different kind of recycling stages. So, first is sorting. Here there are two major sorting, one is the cardboard, they are thin such as those used for the cardboard drink containers or cereal boxes and corrugated boxes. bigger and stiffer, commonly used for packaging transport goods. So, this is two different kind of cardboard materials, shredding and pulping. So, shredding is to do, and finally, pulp is getting produced from the cardboard material. Then filtering and counter mineral removal, that process has to be run, and finally, de-inking and cleaning process. You can go through these write up for a proper understanding, and finally, finishing for reuse. The cleaned pulp is blended with the new production material, after which it is put to dry on a flat conveyor belts and heated cylindrical surfaces. Okay. So, this timeline variation recycling is a percentage of MSW generation in USA. So, you can see here paper and cardboard in 1960 was 17% and 1960 and 1917 was 66%. So, see how the recycling of paper and cardboard has been increased to very high percentage. In this table you can see except plastic and glass, remaining materials are very large quantity is getting recycled. Now, paper recycling, this is also similar to the cardboard recycling, a process by which waste paper is turned into new paper products. So, there are three categories of paper that can be used as feedstock for making recycled paper. That is, first is the mill broke, include paper trimming and other paper scrap from the manufacturing of paper and recycled into a paper mill. Pre-consumer waste, it is a material which left the paper mill, but was discarded before it was ready for the consumer use. These both the products is both the materials are producing inside the paper industry itself. And finally, post consumer waste, it is the material discarded after consumer use. So, this is what finally post consumer waste. There are different stages. First is the collection, paper is taken to the local collection center, then segregation, everything is separated and bundled based on the composition. You can see here different bundles, newspaper, cardboard and different kind of paper material. Then bundling, the same one, the bundling followed by shredding. The paper is tossed into a pulper, which is basically a giant blender with chemicals that dissolve paper fiber bond with shredding it into a tiny fibers. So, idea is to produce the smaller particles of that. Next is the pulping. Okay. The pulp is getting prepared and followed by this pulp is getting washed by cleaning chemicals are stirred into a remove tiny dirt, oil or other contaminants. Then de-inking, the pulp is de-inked by sticking it in a chemical solution and blowing bubbles through it, that is called as a de-inking process. And finally, bleaching, then the pulp is bleached, okay. And then it is then spread into a white screen that let the water drained off in the drying process. And finally, pre-surging process, this is the last unit, that long sheet of semi dried pulp are then put through a heated pressure which apply enough pressure to turn them into smooth sheet of paper. And finally, rolling process, paper is rolled up into a huge rolls. Now, paper recycling status in India compared to US. So, in India 27% is the recycling rate and in US 69 to 71%. See, it is all paper, cardboard, newspaper and is a much lower in India compared to US. Even global average also is higher than India's recycling rate. Okay, then so this is what I think here we saw that different kind of recycling stages for the different metal. So, finally, we believe that the reduce, reuse and recycle, that should be a best idea behind the dry waste material. And see, here I gave only few materials, different stages of recycling, like paper, plastic, metal, glass, few more components like rubber, leather. You know that tires are easily recyclable, and few more whatever components, I think mostly the dried components are recyclable components. So, suppose like India kind of country where these kind of materials are going up to 20-25%, that material, if it is getting segregated from the wet material, then easy to get recycle also. And these whatever the stages I explained about, these stages are very easy, and you can find different plants or recycling units in the smaller size or smaller capacity to a larger capacity also could be possible. Now, I think we will finish the recycling here, but also you see that this dried material, suppose if you are not planning for recycling, because there is again the very important point of discussion is that the acceptability of recycled matter, recycled material, especially for the human purposes or household purposes. This is one of the very important one, and suppose some of the country is not allowing to use the recycled material. So, we can't run the recycling process. So, another technology could be possible for such kind of material, especially the paper, plastic material or cardboard material, that could be possible, like we can go for combustion of this kind of material, because these are dried material, and once you pre-treat properly this kind of material, these are highly combustible matter. The calorific value could be possible to get it around 3000 to 5000 kilocalorie per kg. So, this is another one more treatment could be possible of this kind of material. From next model we will go for chemical transformation. Under that we will discuss the incineration or combustion, and the similar way the same dry material how best we can use as an fuel, or how best we will be able to produce energy out of such kind of material. Okay. So, thank you for today.